So from this course, I will show you how to use Terraform Cloud. So the very first step you need to do is to create your Terraform Cloud account. You can open this link, and this link will show you the sign in or registering link. Since I have already have the account, I can just sign in. If you don't have an account, you can just create your free account and follow the instructions. It will be very easy for you to register. Okay, so next, let's click sign in button. And we will navigate here. Next step is to create organization. So I will create an organization called Andrew Programming. Enter the email address and click here, create organization. Now, as you can see, we have an organization created. This organization is called Andrew Programming. And if you have multiple organization, you can click this drop-down list and choose the organization you want to work in. Okay, next step is to create a workspace, or if you already have one, you can choose that one. So for me, I should create a new workspace, and you can see here we have 3 steps to create a new workspace. First is to connect it to VCS. So as you can see here, I have a GitHub because I put my code here, and I want to set up the connection between the workspace and the GitHub project, right? So I can choose this one, or if you put your code on other VCS, you can choose one of them. Okay, so for me, I click GitHub and choose github.com. And you can see here, we should follow this step to set up the connection. So I can click this link, register a new OAuth application. And the application name, I should copy this one, paste it here, paste the homepage URL, and let me check. Yeah, authorization callback URL should be this one. Okay, paste here, application description, any description of your choice. So I will leave this blank, and I click this register applications. Okay, now we have this information, and let's go back. So it says after clicking the register application button, you will be taken to new applications page. Enter the client ID and the client secret below. Okay, so let's see, client ID is this one. Copy, paste, and client secret ID is this one. Paste, and I can use the github.com. Okay, and next, let's click connect and continue. Now we can see this page, and let's click authorize Andrew Programming. Enter the password. Okay, you see that now we have successfully set up the connection between the workspace and the GitHub project, right? So next step is to set up SSH key pair. So this SSH key pair is used by Terraform Cloud to connect to github.com. So we can use the command right here to generate that key pair. As you can see, it's a standard Linux command. So if you are familiar with this command, you will understand what it will do, right? And please notice this step is optional, so I will leave behind this, and I will click skip and finish. Okay, now you can see that we have this information, and this means we have successfully set up the connection with the GitHub and my workspace. Okay. Next, I should choose a repository hosted on the GitHub. So I click this button and choose this one. So so here, as you can see, we can choose the repository I want to set up the connection. Here I'm gonna use this one, so I click it, and the workspace name, you can give it a name you like. I will use the default one, and here you also can edit the advanced option, but I also use the default one. So next, let's click this create workspace. Okay, you can see that I successfully set up a workspace. Okay, next step is either to configure variables or just the clean plan. If your configuration doesn't require variable, you can create your first plan now. So I will click this one. And you can see that we have a plan. We have a queen, and the queen has a task to running. So you can see this is the output of the executing process. So as you can see, we need a value for the required variable. So I need to set up this variable's value. So before we setting this variable's value, I wanna go through quickly about this project. This project is very simple. As you can see, it was used to create AWS DynamoDB table, and this code needs some variable value. For example, the tag username. So if we go to the variables.tf, and you can see there is a variable called tag username. It doesn't have a default value. It just have a type, right? So we must give this variable a value, and also this variables .tf doesn't contain another two variables we used in the main.tf. So let's go back to main.tf, and you can see that we use these two variables, which is called db read capacity, db write capacity. But we doesn't. In the variables.tf, it doesn't contain these two variables. So we must give these two variables a value too. So let's go back to the Terraform Cloud, and you can see a workspace name, and you can see the run schedule is errored because of the previous unsetted variable value. Okay, so now let's click this, and let's click variable tab, and here we can add variables, right? So let's click this button and enter the variable name, variable key name, tag username, and this value I can give it whatever I like, for example Andrew, and you can give it a description or not, and I can and then I click save variable to save this variable. And I also need to add another two variable, which is called db write capacity, and I give it a value 1. Okay, save this variable, and I want to add another variable called db read capacity, db read capacity, and its value let's say 2. Okay, and save this variable. And I also need to set two environment variables, which are AWS access key ID and AWS secret access key. And you can see that this value you cannot see its value, right? Because I checked the sensitive option here. Once this value is sensitive, you cannot see its value here. Okay, so next I can rerun the project and rerun the build again. So here I need to add two environment variables, which are my AWS access key ID and AWS secret key. And you can see these values are invisible because I check the sensitive option here. So if you check this option, your value will become invisible. Alright, so next I can rerun the project. So here click Clean Plan and click this button. Your build will rerun. So let's wait for a second. You can see that these are the output. So we can see that we have an execution plan generated here. The plan says we have two to add. Okay, so if everything is okay, we can click confirm and apply button here. So let's click this button, and you can add some comment. I will leave it behind. So just confirm the plan. And you can see that now we enter the apply stage. And I want you to notice that all these things are executing remotely. So you can see apply finish. And we can click this tab. You can see we have the output here. And also we can click this button to download the raw log. Okay, so if everything is okay, we can go to the EC2. We can go to AWS Management Console to verify the result. So here we're gonna search DynamoDB. And we should select Table tab. You can see that this table is what we just created, and it's in US West 1 region. So as you can see, using Terraform Cloud, we can build the infrastructure remotely, and we can store our code in the VCS. So a team can work together to manage the infrastructure, right?